Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pastor Jardula here. And I'm Fiorella.
And Oz is on the ones and twos. Don't worry, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonny Sue is still in the building. He's still here. We are actually expanding our horizons at the Convo Couch. We have a lot more projects to get into, so we're looking for a little help on the other ends. And Oz from Roar Media, our sister station of sorts, is actually helping us out. How you doing over there, Oz?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for being on the ones and twos with us today, Oz. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm back. Obviously, I just got back today. Literally, Pasta just got me from the airport. So I'm excited to do this. There's a lot of things we're going to discuss. We're not going to be able to go into everything I want to go into today because we'd be here for hours. But I will be discussing more of what happened with more of the Green New Deal stuff, more of the Great Reset stuff. I would like to have, Robbie's information out there. I would like to have Corey Morningstar on. I want to talk about this because this is something that has been, it's nothing new, but I think more and more people are accepting it now, especially as more of us talk about it and aren't as afraid to talk about it. But fam, I was at the Better Discourse event where I didn't get the questions like everybody else did till literally a half hour before the event. I knew it was about the Green New Deal, but I didn't know specifically what was going to happen. I was a last minute addition. I was replacing a conservative panelist, so I don't think people expected me to go that route. I am supposed to, as a progressive, support the Green New Deal. I'm supposed to support AOC. So it was interesting to get cheers from a lot of, based leftists on the Destiny chat, as well as the Republicans. It was interesting. They were agreeing on things, and the liberal and the neocons, they're part of the establishment. They're, you know what I mean? You have more in common with a lot of these populist mentality thinking folks. Actually, everybody was really nice to me. Everybody was really civil. There were leftists there, libertarians, independents, and conservatives. It wasn't just a bunch of right wingers like some people put on Twitter. It was really good. I'm glad I did it. I would do it again. I love talking to people I disagree with. I love how people are different outside the internet. There were people that on the internet, they're usually they get me like amped up and angry, but then when you talk to them in person, they're not as bold, or they're a little bit more pragmatic as to how to talk to you. So I thought that was really interesting. And I think if you're less afraid of talking to people who you may think are, whatever, a right wing Proud Boy, I think if I'm willing to do that, people shouldn't bash it. They should actually be like, oh, Fia, woman of color and a leftist, self-proclaimed. I mean, I was there. They knew who I was. It's not like they don't read my tweets. It's like because they read my tweets, I was reached out to. So I never hide who I am in any way, shape, or form.
I think a lot of things to take out of the whole panel situation is, number one, that there are a lot of people online, fam, when you go meet them, they aren't the same person behind the keyboard that you once think they are. They're keyboard warriors, but when you get to them, they're very meek. That's very different than us in the fam. We are who we are. Like, if I called you a donkey on Twitter, chances are I'll call you a donkey to your face. Same thing with fam. She's going to come at you the same way. She's not going to sugarcoat her shit, and that's what they got. So a lot of people are like, damn, this person's different in person, but damn, that person's exactly the savage person we thought she would be in person as well. Another thing to take away, I think we saw a lot of tactics by the neoliberal establishment, leftist cucks out there, of whatever you want to call them, the keepers at the gate, like Destiny. When you talked about Russiagate, like, well, what exactly is Russiagate? Now they're trying to distort the whole thing to act as if the left, like for the last 4.5 years, fam, that they didn't imply that Putin and the Kremlin was working hand in hand with Donald Trump to skew the 2016 election, and he's an illegitimate president, and therefore he couldn't do any peace agreements with him, any work with them. They really handicapped from the get-go. So now they want to kind of distort the past and act like they never did those things, which they did. And that's a tactic that they're going to use, and we have to be ready to combat that. There's been a lot of indie media people inside our bubble, our friends, who are like, why do you guys and why does Jimmy always talk about Russiagate? And we know it's not true, but it's the narrative out there in the mainstream media.
It takes 2 seconds to see that a lot of these people are still buying the bullshit. And if we stop talking about it, our audience is very smart, but in order to expand it to people who aren't as aware, that, you know, we have to continue talking about it, continue ad nauseum, reminding people like, yeah, Russiagate was debunked. You know, I meant to say also the Syrian chemical attacks were debunked. You know, the whole Green New Deal thing, people are like, well, Fiorella supported it. Yeah, I supported the Bernie Sanders one. I had supported the All Fossil Fuels Act. And when I was still under the impression that AOC's Green New Deal was going to be better, was going to be significant, I supported it. When I found out that it was a non-binding resolution that literally didn't address fracking, didn't address imperialism, then I'm going to criticize it. It has, like, literally people expect you to be the same no matter what happens, and that's not how this works. If you find out new information that contradicts what you believed in before, what you knew, you have to fucking correct the information, especially if you're in media. If you don't do that, then you're just selling lies based on this whole you know, culture, like identity / celebrity worship of politicians, and that's just not, it's just not feasible. It's not honest. It's bad. Yeah. So we have a lot of things to get through, fam. But did you want to say anything?
No, the third thing was just that we got to continue to have the conversations, what you just said. I just want to echo on that. I think it's really important. You know, I was trying to get them to do an election integrity panel, and I really wish they would have. They need that. We need that right now, so I can go and bash a bunch of liberals.
I was talking to Niko, and apparently, you know, things are going to be different too next time. I was looking for a panel on civil liberties, on censorship, you know, where that's something that you can see a lot of convergence on the election integrity aspect. We could educate a lot of people who are, you know, from the left. We have a different perspective than a lot of the right. We don't think it's China or the ghost of Hugo Chavez. We think it's definitely people in our country and the mechanisms at work here. So those conversations need to be had regardless of where you stand. So I value that.
Well, it's good to have you back, fam. And we're going to have a great show today. I just want to read two quick super rays and we'll get to it. By the way, Oz, did the sound of the intro come through with the Convo Couch, the whole thing?
Yeah, it did. There was a delay in between the bumper and the Convo Couch logo.
Can you play it real quick one more time? Or is that something that's easy peasy?
No, it's not.
Okay,
no, don't worry about it. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, remember our intro? We talked about it on Friday. We're going to tell you what movie it's from. We're going to put up a tweet on our Convo Couch. If you can tell us what movie it came from, I'm going to send you a care package with some of our shirts. People have been asking about the fuck censorship, to defund the Pentagon. We're going to do that. What movie did we get our intro from?
Inspired
from. It was inspired. Just a really quick shout out to the 35 people watching on the Rokfin. Get over to the Rokfin. ROKFIN. No offense, fam, but no offense. Left us some love. It says, love you, fam. We love you, Noah. You're great. And Kimberly S says, hey, Convo Couch crew, just watch Pasta's interview on JB, Jason Burmis. Fantastic work. Pasta is a wealth of knowledge. Keep up the hard work. Looking forward to more. We are going to bring you more from that situation. We're not going to let it go. We're going to talk about it today, but let's just dive right into the show, fam.
Right.
Because we have a big one. Let's get it started. Fam's going to get savage.
Okay, so we're just going to start by pointing out what you guys already know, right? That the Democrats, Biden and AOC, are gaslighting Americans. They're trying to pretend that everything is now awesome, like the Lego movie. Everything is great and rainbows and ponies because Biden came in and he has exceeded our expectations, according to AOC. So Time Magazine, of course, along with them is their mainstream media narrative managers and public relations specialists that are pretty much throwing out this narrative that Biden is just, you know, the most amazing guy. So let's start off with this Times article. They start by saying that it's a deeply progressive agenda put forth by a man who was a middle of the road Democrat for most of his career. And Jim Clyburn said, I really kind of thought he would be much more of a traditionalist. And he said, though I am very pleased and excited. So how is the one-time deficit hawk who supported Ronald Reagan's tax cuts now drawing comparisons to presidents like Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Lyndon B. Johnson? So this whole article is basically a love affair poem. It's like a love poem to Joe Biden and the administration, talking about Biden's past and his policy, right? And now all of a sudden he's being compared to FDR. And they go on to say, it's also true that the country has changed. For much of Biden's Senate career, politics increasingly demanded a commitment to minimizing the government's role in limiting spending, at least in principle. So this is the second picture. During the Reagan and Clinton years, Biden understood the country had turned right and that Democrats had to be more restrained in their objectives. And that a former director of the federal, Richard Nixon Presidential Library said that. And he also said that Biden has a sense that this is a period where it's possible to get more from the Democratic agenda. So Biden all of a sudden has a sense that he can get everything. He's being compared to FDR. Look at him. We thought he was going to be more of a middle of the road guy, but look at him now. He's just a wonder. He's going progressive. He's just like FDR.
Malarkey.
They continue. So far, Biden's bets seem to be paying off. Really? His approval rating, this is the part I wanted. This is hilarious. Has hovered in the mid-50s, according to Gallup, which trails many of his predecessors, but is a strong mark in in this polarized political climate. Trump never cracked 50%. They put that in there.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, even if Trump never cracked 50%, which I think he did, I think you're just pulling the wrong people. But let's say he cracked 50% or around. You're saying Biden's approval ratings in the mid-50s, and you're celebrating that. That's literally like, no, it's a difference of an error, like a plus or minus. It's ridiculous. So they're continuing to talk about that. And yeah, I mean, this is how the media now, the Times is still regarded as like something that, oh, if you know what's going on, you read the Times. Still, for a lot of people that are older than myself, like this is what they still cling to.
Not for me though, fam. I know it's full of malarkey.
I know,
and stuff
you
like
know.
that. And the Times Magazine article also put out what happened to the elections and whatnot. The cabal of elitists. We talk about that. If this was done in any other country, to be like, those people have committed treason.
Yeah.
Like really, but actually they just painted it all with roses and whatnot. And here's Time Magazine doing the same thing.
So yeah, so as you guys can see, they're absolutely gaslighting everybody. And now the other thing I want to point out is actually what's going on, because a lot of people were saying that Biden was going to take naively, right, that he was going to keep to his word like he always has done, and get rid of the troops in Afghanistan. Well, this is antiwar.com's Twitter, right? And they said that the Pentagon deployed additional forces to Afghanistan over fears of Taliban attacks. Now, the Taliban is all of a sudden attacking, so they're deploying additional forces. Yeah. You see, didn't we tell you? 21
years, fam.
Didn't we tell you they were going to expand it 6 months, not only for the jingoistic desire of 9/11 anniversary, but also because they wanted to have time to find an excuse to either keep more troops there or send more troops there.
Yeah. Please go on, because we have some other stuff that will kind of back this up. But
so the just to reiterate, the U.S. is sending B-52 bombers to Afghanistan and keeping an aircraft carrier in the Gulf. And you guys can look into that. It's right there. There's an article that's linked to it. And here is Biden once again saying doing the whole squad thing, right? They'll tweet things like, we need to help poor people, but they don't do anything to actually do it. So here he is, April 27th. I believe no one should work full time and still live in poverty. That's why today I raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour for people working on federal contracts. Oh, okay. So instead of doing what I ran on, and I have the numbers and I have both houses, I could actually pass a $15 minimum federal wage across the board. I can do that. I'm the president of the United States. No, I'm going to pretend that I'm giving you something and just say, oh, but it's only for these people. That's a very small amount of people. Most people I know don't work for the government.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, Shauna Burley, friend of the show, she said, Joe will give you a raise if you work for the war machine. That's it.
I mean, pretty much.
Fire, Shauna. And that's the truth. A federal contract. So if you don't, and how many federal jobs are there out there? It's got to be less than 10%, I believe, last time I checked. So basically, ugats, nobody. You're not getting a raise.
And another thing that, I mean, it sucks that we have to point this out here. I would love to, not focus on Biden, but people don't even get how he's gaslighting, because when you talk to the majority of Americans that aren't in our political sphere, they're like, well, at least it's pre-K. So this is what Biden's doing. So Biden proposed a $200 billion in education funding, okay, that is going to direct funds towards universal pre-K. And this is for 3 and 4 year olds this is going to be through a national partnership with the states. And so everybody's like, oh my God, Biden's giving pre-K. He said he was going to do student debt forgiveness for up to $50,000. And people were like, we need to do the whole thing. And he was like, no, we'll do $50,000. He's even backed off that. He's not even doing that anymore. And do you think people aren't going to notice? Yeah, some people are going to completely just, be like, oh, well, whatever. Yeah. They're not going to do it. And that's just, whatever. It sucks. No, dude, you cannot do that anymore. You have to demand better.
Well, it's also too, fam, people aren't talking about it, that not only are they not forgiving it, they're allowing the student loan companies, the third factor down the road, you know what I'm saying? Because they sell these loans off, to go hit your credit now as well. So they had a hold off under Donald Trump, and my credit score was rising as soon as he went in, the administration whatnot, and there was no student debt forgiveness. Here comes these school loans trying to come back and collect on what you owe. Literally lowered my credit score by like 75, 80 points. That's out of the blue. And I've contacted for my loan to see what's going on. It's like, hey man, we want our money. I'm like, dude, we're not even out of the pandemic yet. And you know what I'm saying? I can't even buy toothpaste to brush my teeth. And you want to sit there and you want to sack my credit and make it harder to get out just so they could use that as a mechanism to pay or will ruin your life. I mean, it's disgusting. It
is disgusting. And it just, once again, back to the whole war machine, juxtaposing what we spend in on education and all of these things, right? Because Joe Biden, of course, was the one, if you recall, who made it possible for you not to be able to file a bankruptcy for your student loans bill. With the bankruptcy bill. So Public Citizen said, breaking, Biden proposes a 753 what is that?
Billion.
1, 2, 3 billion Pentagon $billion.
Or is that trillion? It's a billion. It's billion. No,
it's billion.
Nine is billion. Yeah.
Okay, because it could be trillion.
Give it 200. All we need is 247 more billion.
Like, how many zeros?
We'll get to your trillion. We're not there yet, though. But go ahead.
Okay, an increase from last year's budget. This was published earlier this month, like weeks ago, and most people, I guess, didn't really pay attention. He's giving all this money to the Pentagon,
to the war
machine. Wait, can we get a little bit of that for, student debt relief for Medicare? Nah. You know why?
More than the next 11 countries combined.
You know why it doesn't matter how many times you call, because this is systemic. This is like they have zero interest in working with you here. So that's that. And then Kamala Harris, of course, another one that is playing into this whole narrative management. She told the Guatemalan president to his face, and this one irritated the hell out of me, right, fam? Because she's telling the people in the Northern Triangle, the people who we literally sanctioned, created regime change, ousted their democratically elected leaders, and then of course led to massive economic crises, civil wars in the country, and now all these people are coming here only to be treated like it's their fault for coming here and for like their country's situation, and to be gaslighted into thinking that this is going to be better under the Biden administration when it hasn't been. So here she is telling the Guatemalan president to his face that political corruptions, violence against LGBT people, and Afro descendants are some of the root causes of migration to America. Let's hear her audacity.
There are also long-standing issues that are often called the root causes of immigration. We are looking at the issue of poverty and the lack, therefore, of economic opportunities, the issue of extreme weather conditions and the lack of climate adaptation, as well as corruption and the lack of good governance, and violence against women, indigenous people, LGBTQ people, and Afro descendants. There are also long-standing issues.
Okay. Well.
Oh, fam.
So there she is. I mean, completely not recognizing what Joe Biden's administration, of course, as VP, right, under Obama, and of course, Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, what they did So that goes to show you, why isn't she going to say that? Because it's the same fucking people in power. All they did was transition it into the Obama administration 2.0.
Yep.
This is something that I pointed out, right? Later on, we'll show this video where I talk about that.
Yeah. I just want to point out that once again, we've talked about this so much. I think this is really at the core of the Convo Couch. One of the things we talk about other than elections is the fact we talk a lot about foreign policy and what leads to immigration in the global South. And, 1951 to 1954, they removed the socialist president so the UFC, the United Fruit Company, could go in there, steal their resources and give it just to corporations rather than the people being able to capitalize off all the money for education, healthcare, whatnot. And we've been doing this shit for so long. So it's just, once again, we're coming to full circle. This is the North Triangle. And here we are. For her to say that shit and not talk about the fact that we're in there 24/7 with our bases, with weapons deals, just like El Salvador, just like Honduras, it's disgusting. And we need to really put shine a light on this. And this is something we have to shine a light on for a lot of our conservative brothers and sisters who are like, oh, we need to build a wall. There's too much immigration coming in. Well, why? Why? Because our military, our foreign policy. And when you put up a tweet right there, $753 billion used for that. Okay, that money has to go to something. So stop avoiding the fact. And I'm talking now to a lot of conservative people out there who think that our foreign policy doesn't lead to migration. You're wrong. You're simply wrong. It does. And that's why they keep coming here, because we keep screwing up their country. And for Kamala, first of all, she's terrible in foreign policy, fam.
She doesn't know anything.
She's terrible. So for her to sidestep it, it's just disgusting. And it's, once again, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, same people running this country.
And so another person, of course, that we have been on, and this happened Friday. So the reason it's Wednesday in the primary is because late Friday it happened after we did our show.
Yep.
And I was really irritated when I heard this, but it's just, again, thank you, AOC, for continuing to prove this unmasking. I'm sorry. I feel bad for all the people who believed in you, including us, who fundraised for you and did all these things for you. But I don't understand why people can't just say, oh shit, okay, we got duped. We thought she was going to be something she wasn't. It's okay to fucking admit it. We were wrong. We thought we put in our faith in a person because we thought, this person's young. They haven't been screwed like the way, career politicians have. And guess what? She's a Bernie supporter. And that was when we were still Bernie supporters, and all of these things have happened. Like, what has happened in the span of months? And, it has been crazy where we've gone from supporting AOC and Bernie to saying that they're cucks for the Democratic Party, which they are now officially 100%.
For the establishment, fam.
Yeah, for the establishment. But but they're under the guise of the Democratic Party. And so here is, I want people to, I say, stop defending this, because people are still defending that this is manipulative to me, because it's gaslighting. Yeah. It's not just saying, oh, like, it's not even flat out lying. She's gaslighting people, knowing that this isn't true. I can't believe that I ever donated to this person. And she says Biden has definitely exceeded expectations that progressives had. A lot of us expected a much more conservative administration. Let's hear what she said.
One thing that I will say is that I do think that the Biden administration and President Biden has definitely exceeded expectations that progressives had. I'll be frank, I think a lot of us expected a much more conservative administration. And I think that not only what has ultimately come out, but the active invitation and willingness and collaboration with progressives in his first 100 days, or almost 100 days, has been very impressive. And so while there are there are areas where there are just plain areas of disagreement, I think that the actual conduct of the administration has absolutely been in good faith, but not just in good faith, but active incorporation of progressive legislation. And also for those of us individually, I can at least say that there has been a lot of openness and willingness and flexibility in incorporating many of our goals, requests, demands, etc. And I think that it has been to the benefit of the country.
Okay, so first of all, before I let you say anything, I'm just gonna go and say this. You guys recall when they were forming these committees, right? And Bernie Sanders was trying to get some of his people in there. And when you look at who was in these committees, it was literally like John Kerry and a bunch of shit libs. And AOC was like, "Oh, see, they're allowing." That's when I was like at that point where like, are you kidding me? No, nobody that's actually going to fight for anything is in these committees. Yeah. So one, from the get-go, that was never going to happen. They were never at all cooperative with the Bernie contingent of the Democratic wing. And then of course those people didn't even fight back enough. The people that were already in there, they didn't even say, "Oh, we're not going to do this unless Biden does this, and that." They didn't fucking hold off on their like, they were supposed to be the ones that were going to say, "You know what, we're not going to allow this to go further unless Biden gives us this." And then Biden was supposed to give a $15 minimum wage, student debt forgiveness. I think he went from a Medicare for all, which he talked about a public option, to a public option. He did none of it. What progressive? I'm sorry. What actual advancements have we gotten? How is he cooperating with progressives if he literally shit on everything they wanted? Yeah. This is so elementary to me. Like, I don't even want to be talking about this. This is so fucking stupid. Yeah. I'm just like, I cannot believe people still defend this woman. Like, what is it in you that thinks this is just like us criticizing her because we don't like her? Somebody sent me a message like an hour ago, like, "Why are you so hard on AOC? She's trying her hardest." I thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. Yeah. Like, I don't like, this is a public servant. And yes, she may not be my congresswoman, but she's one of the most influential congresspeople out there. She is going to be the next generation's like Nancy Pelosi. And yes, if I fucking donated to her, if I organized to get people to fundraise for her, you bet your ass I'm going to go after her when she's fucking gaslighting people. When she starts talking about the kids in cages being different in flux facilities, you think that doesn't piss me off? Like, as an immigrant, are you fucking kidding me? Like, she's just full of shit. It's just so disgusting. And the fact that I get even more angry is when I go to a place where conservatives think the left is her. And it's not. And I want to squash that right now. She does not represent the left. She does not represent anti-imperialist. She doesn't represent anything remotely progressive. And she's basically just doing narrative management for Biden.
This Wednesday on Fee Rants, Fee goes off on AOC. I mean, really, that was just awesome what you just said over there. And I mean, two things I want to do real quick. I just want to point out, fam. Yeah. Just put up the picture right now. Look at her face. Ladies and gentlemen, she knows she is lying to you. Look at her face. She knows she is gaslighting there. You can see it. It's written all over her face. I mean, that Oz knows that song. We're old, right, Oz? So you know that stuff. But look at it. She knows, and she's developed the Kamala laugh lately, the tick and whatnot. This is the part of the CIA program or wherever this woman came from. Call me a conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want. Shanda would back me up on those words. This is the part of the duping the people and the propaganda to the people where it's written all over her face. She knows she's lying. And third, fam, I just want to talk about, really, you pointed it out, and I've been saying this. People tell me, what has Biden done? What has he done? You'll see all these people, including this next tweet right here. We have AOC, Bernie Sanders. They're the most transformative president administration. We've gotten much more out of the Biden administration. They've worked with progressives. He's the best administration since FDR. What, ladies and gentlemen? We've gone backwards on foreign policy. Our foreign policy has been a joke. What we did to Russia right out of the gate was disgusting. Saber rattling with the other guys who have the most nuclear bombs. I mean, right out of the gate, Blinken, Sullivan, they embarrassed themselves, and it's a different Russia nowadays after the 4 years they've been gone. We've gone backwards when it comes to civil liberties. 16 million that the big tech gave Biden, it's showing all over the place as they're censoring people left and right. And then you have all your managers out there, your stenographers. Here is Bill Ma, who went back to being Bill Ma again. And once again, pay attention. Let me know if he mentions any policies or actual things that Biden has done other than the fact that you get the lip service. Milli Vanilli over here. Let's go.
New rule 3 months into his presidency, it's time to admit that Joe Biden has been a huge disappointment to comedians. All the jokes we were stockpiling about ancient, doddering, sleepy Joe, useless. The man has been nothing short of sharp, focused, and completely on top of things. We were expecting a font of comedy gold about a senile geezer showing up to work in his pajama bottoms and plowing his motorcade into a farmer's market. Forget the dog, he was going to bite someone on the South Lawn. But a funny thing happened on the way to the old age home. Biden slayed the orange dragon and is now spearheading the most transformative administration since FDR, with an approval rating of 59%. Even the Joe Biden tics and gaffes that used to bug us, the hair smelling and the getting lost in a sentence and the challenging of random people to a fight in the parking lot. Gone. Biden stepped up his game. Yes, he got better at 78. What a mind-blowing concept that must be to the younger generations for whom writing someone off simply for their age is the last acceptable prejudice.
It seems like that's the last ploy once again, so that you can't have any criticism of anybody whatsoever, right? He weaponized that shit, and he went on to bash communism and socialism and think once again that that's all the youth wants. It's a dumb idea. How dare you attack him from his age? Hey, asshole! Most of the people who were kind of really critical about Joe Biden's dementia were Bernie supporters. Bernie is older than Joe Biden. So don't tell us really right now it's about ageism and stuff. And it just made me want to kick myself in the head, because I would use that joke with Fiorella and Jonny and be like, hey guys, don't say that. That's ageism. And I was only joking all the time. But the fact that Bill Maher really went there to weaponize the fact that you can't even criticize Joe Biden because he's lost most of his mental faculties is disgusting.
Yeah, it's just more gaslighting by the way, by this guy. I mean, it's just they're right there. It's the same kind of narrative. Joe Biden has been great. He, only comedians have lost out. No, zero proof or evidence or receipts to back what he's saying, because he's not a journalist. He's an entertainer, Bill Maher. I mean, he's just, a paid propagandist. That's all he is. And so he doesn't have the receipts, right? But really, Joe Biden has absolutely continued in his like his whole spiel. His whole thing has always been to backtrack from everything he has ever said. So he runs on something and then he backtracks and does the opposite, or his record shows that he has been lying for 48 years. So when I went to the Better Discourse, somebody clipped up this piece. I think it was a Better Discourse Myth-Informed Mike clipped this up, and of course Niko retweeted it. This is what I said. In 48 years, we've never seen Biden not backtrack on his promises. So let's just watch what I say so we can, discuss.
To be clear, I'm pretty sure Biden's infrastructure bill earmarks like hundreds of billions of dollars towards like greenifying like parts of the U.S. economy, whether you're talking like infrastructure, whether you're talking about new jobs created in green energy. So I don't think it's totally fair to say Democrats aren't addressing the jobs part of like green energy at all. Like that bill is a ton marked for like green-related industry.
I don't honestly think it is. I think it's just all talk. I haven't seen Biden in the last 48 years actually not backtrack from everything he said. He's been lying for the last 48 years. His whole administration is the Obama administration put back in place. They are destroying our foreign policy. They are not going to get out of Afghanistan. They're going to privatize the troops. This is not a man that I trust. And also, by the way, he's not specifying where these jobs are going to go. It's really easy to say, oh, I back union leadership, I back jobs. But then what you're backing is the corrupt union leadership, and you're not doing anything for the workers. And that is also a problem that I see in unions, is like we have to look at how unions have become mini corporations, and that's why a lot of people don't want to join them. We have to address those systemic structural issues that include our infrastructure.
While that's true, to be clear.
Wait 1 second. That's not exactly what I meant there, fam. If I can just go back and say something and stuff like that. Destiny, ladies and gentlemen.
So I don't know. Somebody has that whole thing up. I think he unlisted it, by the way, from his I wonder why. I don't know.
Yeah.
But look, so Biden has backtracked. We know this. And what I meant about unions, right? Like the PRO Act. The PRO Act is basically, first of all, like what Brianna Joy Gray said, you need the filibuster with the PRO Act. 1, 2, like I said, there's really nothing there that guarantees an ability for the workers to get power. It's for the union leadership to get power. Again, unfortunately, because of the system we live in, a lot of unions have become mini corporations. Okay, they're small, they operate like corporations. And so a lot of that union leadership is corrupt. So when Biden went out there saying, oh, I support Amazon workers' ability to unionize, he doesn't, because that goes against all the money and all the assets he's subservient to. He's not really supporting that. He's supporting it in name and is going to support these policy positions that strengthen the workers' reliance on this their bosses, and then has the facade to say, oh, you can strike, but only if it's approved by the union leadership, not a wildcat strike. That's what we need. We need more of that. But again, like Joe Biden has been lying, and one of the weaknesses of the Green New Deal is it doesn't specify exactly where all these jobs are coming from, how you're going to do this, and that's a weakness that the Republicans often attack. Like, if you're thinking about strategy here, why would I give them a reason to attack something? Why don't we just lay out specifically how we're going to get these people to work? They don't do that. And that's where the Democrats have lost a lot of the working class, especially in the Midwest and the South, because they spew all this jargon, but they never actually have anything tangible to show for it.
Yeah. And also too, the whole throwing out like this whole gaslighting people and stuff, like, Bill Maher, all these guys, they don't mention policy, whatnot. Destiny attempted to mention some policy that he's not sure about, policy that the whole bill hasn't been released completely, policy that is going to be filled with nothing but pork, and policy that is not going to make it all the way through the way they want it to. And if it's a resolution like the Green New Deal, it doesn't really mean anything anyways. So for him to bring up this whole infrastructure bill that it's going to be all green and whatnot and stuff like that, there's more pork in it than ever can be. The Democrats never put forth bills nowadays that are simple, easy for the public to understand. Instead, it seems like the lobbyists write their bills and hand it over to them. So you best believe in an infrastructure bill by Joe Biden and his administration, it's going to be a lot of giveaway to all their friends, all their Clinton Foundation people. They've shown this history before, fam. It doesn't ever actually go to the main goal. It goes to people around them who are just skimming off the top.
And it's not even just the Democrats. It's the whole establishment. Like, they're literally, the whole Green New Deal is backed by corporate interests. They're never going to allow something like that in the system we're in. That's what people need to realize. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I started out thinking, hey, if we do implement this, then understanding what's going on is the fact that this is systemic. So if you want these things to happen, you have to change the whole system. And when you're putting in a Green New Deal that sounds good on paper, but is backed by corporate interests, you're basically just giving away the whole climate justice to corporate interests that aren't really going to do anything to help out.
Exactly. They're going to worry about their bottom line, their dollars and cents. And the Green New Deal doesn't mention anything about foreign policy and the bombs that are dropped and how that affects the ozone layer, except how Elizabeth Warren did come along with green new bombs as well.
And Israeli tech.
And also too, as well, we never talk about the fact that geoengineering is never even brought to the table too as well. Don't want to talk too much about that because I don't want to get taken down, but those are my final statements. Oz, you've been listening to that whole segment. You've been giving us thumbs up. You've been giving middle fingers to AOC and all these other people. You got any opinions upon this? Is Joe Biden done something for us that I've missed?
No, Joe's not doing anything. He's supposed to be carbon neutral by 2020. Are you kidding me? He can't even get the infrastructure bill 1/4 or 1/5 of what it needs to be. So no, he's not doing anything. He's playing at it. It's all PR. The Democrats are going to get slaughtered in 22 and 24, and that's the end of it. Sorry.
Sums it up.
There's Oz for you, baby. Love you, Oz. Your hair looks beautiful today, by the way, and stuff like that. Anytime you want to throw yourself on the show, the good people at home, please do so. We love ourselves some Oz over here. The Gone Girl hanging on out on the Rokfin. 50 people watching. Come on, guys. We get that number up. There's almost 300 people on the YouTubes. Cool ass people. Saul Constructs in there. Jefferson Free Press. Get on over to the Rokfin. ROKFIN. The Gone Girl says, Mi gente in the house, always ahead of the curve. Glad you have a good network and support plugging away and wiping away the sludge and smears and throwing light out there until the slugs can't hide anymore.
Oh, wow.
Amen. The Gone Girl. Love you. Great comment. Thank you for the love. We appreciate it. Like I said on Today on Burmis, any bit you give us helps us out, because I'm going to be hitting up the fan in the meeting about trying to get our butts to Phoenix and Maricopa to see what's going on with this audit. Emblem Fate. Emblem Fate is here today, fam.
Fam, it's Emblem Fate.
Meant to say yesterday, I can't read it from there, sorry. To say, it's okay. Meant to say yesterday, Pasta Mauer woke me up to accidentally. I don't think he is a sellout. It's more, he's extremely stupid like Trump, and sometimes says the truth by accident. For example, he crapped on the communism while praising Biden, but he praised China like 2 weeks ago. He did, like, listen, a couple weeks ago, he was also kind of not praising, but he was going after the fact that the liberal media was being stupid and insane when it came to COVID and how we were treating it and whatnot. But somebody told him, his handlers called him and said, Bill, I'm so sorry, but you've been out of line. You're going to have to get back in line and give our boy Biden a big pickup this week. And he did. He went right back in line. It was ridiculous what he said. War Deer Entertainment. Thank you for War Deer Entertainment. We love the Super Ray. It is always appreciated on the couch. And Emble Fate also left another one, or Emble Fate said, Kamala is terrible. She loathes black people. What made you say that, Emble Fate? The fact that she arrested black people at the rate of 12-1 for marijuana charges in California? In California, 12-1 at one point. Her boss brought slavery back to Africa. She demonized black people in Cali. That's what we just talked about. Yes, absolutely. Biden is currently deporting Haitians. While he supports the Haitian coup over there as well, will not give people the freedom they deserve in Haiti. And nobody in the mainstream media, nobody is there. Can the Dems stop hiding behind identity politics and just admit they're racist up front? No, they can't, Emble Fate.
That's what keeps them going.
Exactly, because there are people who buy into it. There are people who take the bait, and it's a shame because they have to stop doing that. They weaponize identity every single chance they get. Why? Because they can't stand upon their own merits about what's going on, about actual policy, and they give you nothing but lip service. Carrie Mark, we love you. Hashtag AOC cops or AOC pose, POS. Oh, AOC pieces of shit. Oh, Carrie, don't make me do that. Carrie Mark says, TY.
Thank you.
Fam. Fee for the rant. You spoke my mind. Doesn't she speak your mind? It's like I felt that way too. And she was able to slay it in such an eloquent way. Taro Man, thank you so much, Taro Man. We appreciate the super raise. We now have 64 watching on the Rokfin.
Let's get
almost
going.
300 on YouTube. Let's get it more. Fam.
All right.
I'm a civil liberties guy. Can you help me out?
You are, but you don't know about this because you were slacking on your civil liberties.
I know.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a civil liberties guy, fam.
You are? You're a civil liberties girl.
No, I'm a civil liberties guy with quotes.
What about gal?
So the FBI is going to continue warrantless surveillance and searches on people. That was approved recently. And again, for like the umpteenth time, but also the First Amendment. There's a very, very special First Amendment case involving social media. This is like unprecedented because, again, what I said yesterday, one of my tweets was, we have not all these revolutionaries and leftists, Marx, Engels, Lenin, all these people, Che Guevara, all these people, they didn't account for the power of big tech and the internet. They didn't. There was no way they could possibly have accounted for that. That changes the way fascism is deployed and in this country, in any country. But that is something that a lot of the left is weak on, because when they look at theory isn't going to discuss that, right? So the Washington Post has this really great article summarizing what happened with this girl. And it's basically, I'm just going to go over it. Basically it's this cheerleader, right? And she did a Snapchat rant, like a fee rant, except she was like mad because she wasn't allowed to go, so basically she was cut from the team as a junior varsity. She was supposed to become a varsity cheerleader. They said no. And so she went on Snapchat with her friends and she shared this rant of saying fuck you to the school and the coach and whatever. So she sent it to 250 people, and one of those people shared it with a teacher, and then the teacher shared it with the principal, and then lo and behold, what happened? Oh, they kicked her off the team completely, and then her family sued the school, saying that the school was overstepping their boundaries because that was when she was off school. And so then the school appealed, and it's going to the Supreme Court. So this is a very big case for the Supreme Court, because this is of course different than regular speech in a sense, because it's student speech. The schools and institutions always have had more leeway on this than like anybody else, believe it or not. That's how it's been. There are other cases that have set this precedent, so I recommend you guys reading the article. But for the sake of time, basically I think that the school was in the wrong, right? Because what a student does outside of their school, just like what a worker does outside of their work,
right?
Specifically though, not even just does, because you could even say that you could still, what they do still, relates to their work, but what they say, what you say, if I say fuck this and fuck that outside of school, I'm not in school anymore. Well, that has nothing to do with what my teacher says, my principal says. And also now you're gearing into social media. What you say in social media now, all of that is coming into play. And so for me, the school is overstepping their boundary, because they should have zero to say in regard to what she does after school hours, especially something as dumb as like saying fuck you. A lot of kids say that all the time. And yeah, I just think it's an overstepping of boundaries. I think if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the school, it's going to set a dangerous precedent, not just for students, but it could be looked on for employees and anybody else potentially doing something outside.
Coming to your dinner table, fam. Now, how far do they want to reach and step in there? It's called FOSB, FOSB, freedom of speech, bitches. Deal with it. No, deal with it. But this is ridiculous. In fact, if in fact they go after her and they freaking find her to be guilty or whatever they're trying to do, it's going to set a serious bad precedent for things to come. I mean, how far can the reach go? And I don't care if it is school, and I don't care if it's our opinion. If she's outside of school, she should be able to say what's on her mind. That's it. Bottom line.
And just so you guys know, she was able to actually when the court ruled in her favor, they forced the school to put her back on the team, and then she made varsity the following year. But the case is still continuing, because cases take a while. So now it's going to go up to the Supreme Court. So just the update on that. This affects a lot of civil liberties people. First, it's your First Amendment at play. It's, again, we're having all these attacks on the First Amendment, and I think it's something worth noting, especially because it involves like Snapchat. So if I say, fuck this or that on Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook, and somebody gets a hold of it, and if I'm a kid or I have a job, if this happens with her, it's going to set, again, like it's another slippery slope. We're already losing so much. And yeah, it's scary,
I like the fact that they already had to eat crow, fam, for what they've already done. And I hope they continue on to go to the Supreme Court. It looks like they're going to keep, continue this fight here and stuff like that. And if we can get a win out of this, that'll be good, because then we can, other cases, we can kind of look at the situation. Because I know there's been a bunch of employees that have been fired all over the place for what they put up on social media. That shit has to stop.
Yeah.
That is, if you're not at work, you're not at work. Now, don't get me wrong. If you sign an agreement that says you will not belittle my company, out there, whatnot, but they've been firing people from jobs for their personal beliefs, because the bosses or the lords that may be at these corporations don't like what the person's saying. That's something that they really have to put an end to. They got to nix it right away, fam. So this is important, and I'm glad you brought this to my attention. This is awesome. And go you! I'm a cheerleading fan now. Whatever her name is, I'm gonna follow her on Facebook or wherever she's at. And then she went and made varsity too. In your face, you fascist bastards.
Well, cheerleaders can be really mean and cutthroat. But yeah,
I met some cool cheerleaders though.
I did it in middle school.
You did?
You
were a cheerleader?
Yeah,
never.
Yeah.
I want to see a picture.
My team did more dancing than cheering.
It seems like you're the type of person that would kind of laugh at the cheerleaders, like, go guys, stop it, read a book.
I was a young fee.
Okay,
so this is another thing that I can't.
Is this from the other article?
Yeah. So this is the Washington Post again.
This is the other article right there.
And basically what's happening is, if you recall when we were talking about warrantless surveillance, that was increasing and continuing to increase. Well, they've doubled down on it, right? The FBI has approved warrantless surveillance on. It's fine.
We'll get you right there.
Yeah. So the secretive federal court approved. Okay, I'm gonna read that again. The secret federal court. What the fuck is a secretive? Like, why?
America, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry. Everything should be public.
America.
A secretive federal court approved the FBI's use of a powerful warrantless surveillance authority in November, despite finding that the Bureau had repeatedly violated rules meant to protect Americans' privacy. The Bureau violating? No. So between this mid-year of past couple years now of 2019 and early 2020, the FBI personnel conducted queries of data troves containing Americans' emails and other communications seeking information without proper justification, according to a redacted ruling by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court made public on Monday. So, yeah. So let me just continue because we know that the FBI has been in controversy since the passage of Section 702 in 2008. And this, of course, got worse with the revelations that Edward Snowden unleashed being a national security agency contractor. And we know that he revealed a lot regarding government surveillance. And so under Section 702, the government has the ability to obtain emails and other communications from these tech companies for foreign intelligence purposes. And it's supposed to aid the government investigations into foreign terrorism, espionage act, and nuclear proliferation. And the FBI always conducts both national security and criminal probes, but its access to raw data has worried the civil liberties guys because they're obviously, once again, overstepping their power. And, Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon had pressed for a requirement that the FBI obtain a warrant whenever it wants to search Section 702 data for an American. But Congress in 2018 allowed FBI searches for purely criminal investigations, but only with a court order. Well, now that is no more because apparently it's been found that in recent revelations, they found that in 2019 and 2020, the Justice Department's National Security Division reported numerous incidents to the court involving queries on Americans for criminal evidence without the FBI first obtaining court permission. So this has been happening. And in one example, for instance, the FBI made 40 queries in support of probes into healthcare fraud, international organized crime, violent gangs, and domestic terrorism. None of this was related to national security. So this is happening. And another thing that is a weakness of the FBI's system where they can query is that it defaults to a setting that enables Section 702 data access regardless if it's a criminal intent. So the system will ask the users whether their query is designed to turn up criminal evidence only. So unless you actually go in there and you manually change the answer to yes, the system will permit data access. So it will permit for them to search for anything, even if the user replies yes. And also the setting expires after 30 minutes. So reverting to the default, because if you don't put turn up criminal evidence only, then that means they can search you and the data for anything, regardless, that's beyond their purview, beyond their jurisdiction. And this is what's been happening on and on and on. And nobody is talking about this. I mean, the Washington Post actually had the audacity to post this, which is interesting, but they're not criticizing it. They're just saying, oh, this is what's happening. And yeah, the FBI is allowing this. It's no surprise, fam, in the age that we live in, this Orwellian state that's increasing. But this is what we've been talking about. This is scary. And we're not even getting into the pre-crime aspect of things. We haven't even gotten into the new documents that are continuously being released. I know you talked about the Seth Rich thing yesterday, but I mean, all of these things are happening and it's scary.
Yeah, the scary part is that Americans are cheering it on. You know what I'm saying? Because the way the establishment or the predator class or the elites or whoever's running things, the way they kind of present it, you know what I'm saying? We saw this when they deplatformed Alex Jones and stuff like that. But what's the information they had to go there and find and look? They were probably looking all over his data. And when they can look at everybody else's data at any time they want without rhyme or reason, you get situations that are just blown up beyond repair. I mean, even the fact that when they lie about how they obtained information, in the case with the Russiagate situation, you know what I'm saying? And they can lie and change emails and stuff like that too, as well, to justify their means. There's still there's no crime to be paid. Nobody has to pay a price for what they're doing. And we saw a lot of people always questioning, why are people so even interested in their personal freedoms anyways and stuff? Well, if we don't, you know what I'm saying? We're going to make China, who we always point the finger to, say, look at China, look at us, look what we're doing. Let's clean our own house and stuff like that. Let's stop them from manufacturing consent. And they always do it in the guise of, oh, it's foreign policy. We're watching out for the guys who are looking into us. We're looking at China, Russia. They're spying on us. We have to make sure that these people aren't colluding with them and whatnot. And if they can frame a president to be a Russian asset, they sure as hell can frame a citizen.
Or a congressperson running for president, you know, like they did Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, yeah.
And so all these
not ever
things,
having to pay a price, by the way.
Yeah. And I just want to reiterate too, in this, of course, if you look at it, oh, okay, the FBI doing what the FBI does. Oh, okay, first speech, you know, free speech / First Amendment rights regarding Snapchat and all these social media. It's going to come up more and more now, because that's now the sector that we're going to focus on, which is why we should know about it, so we're prepared on how to combat this. Because then you have idiots who say, oh no, but they're a private company. That's what Destiny was saying. They're a private company.
Jesus Christ.
And so, but when you put that, and then add the fact that people have been visited by the FBI and by like police, the sheriff, for tweets. And when you put it in also the fact that people are being censored for talking about anything related with COVID, elections, you know, or marked as Russian media, or marked as saying this is disinformation regarding vaccines or regarding the Syrian chemical attacks, all these attacks that are happening, right? None of this is isolated, guys. This is all connected as to what is happening and what is coming onto us. And again, we are not just fighting fascism in the streets with these new bills that are like anti-protest bills that are coming up, but now they're also taking, of course, to big tech, and that's the double whammy that none of us have been, a lot of people haven't been paying attention to, and we need to start.
And the people who have been paying attention to still okaying it. That's another thing we have to really get it under control. Civil liberties are important because you know, if in fact that we live in a state where they can look at you at any time, or they can do anything, and they get the playbook, they have the keys to the kingdom, they can manufacture consent any step of the way. We were very surprised when people didn't speak up for Alex Jones, because they say, hey, it's not about Alex Jones and his rhetoric. It's eventually they'll come for you, they'll take you down. And what we're experiencing right now, our means of avenue for monetization right now is on Rokfin or Patreon, whatnot, because YouTube didn't even just take away our advertising. They took away the mechanism in which we can just make money, where you, the people, fund us through super chats. And once again, that's an invasion of our civil liberties and our rights to speak our mind and our freedom of speech. They're censoring what we can say, how we can make a living. It's dangerous, because once you only have them in control, they'll put out the narrative, and it will always be warmongering of some sorts, whether it be China and Russia, whatnot. And we'll do what we normally do, and that we'll spend millions and billions and trillions of dollars on war. Countless lives will be at stake. We have to get it under control. Freedom of speech is the most important thing, because no matter what you're interested in, whether it be a Green New Deal, Medicare for all, if we can't get our narrative out there and our narrative is shut down while their narrative is pushed forward,
the truth, by the way, because our narrative is not, it's the truth. It's not any politician's narrative, any rich backers narrative. It's just the truth.
Oz, any feelings about the FBI looking in on your stuff, whatnot, or do you have any support for this cheerleader out there? What are your thoughts?
I'm the doorbell's ringing. I think the CIA's out there. So after I get done with the CIA, I'll check in with the FBI. So
it's so funny, because we were like, when we would talk about the Second Amendment, we were bawling, oh no, we got to ban all assault rifles. We got to, nobody should have guns. Just give them over to the government. Now we're like completely changed and stuff like that. And the reason why I want to gun is I'm afraid of the CIA coming after my ass. I ain't afraid of my citizens. I'm afraid of Big Brother and the government and what they're doing, because what they're doing is scary, and people need to get with it, and they have to start opening their eyes and speaking out against the suppression of the First Amendment. Okay. Carrie Mark also says, sorry about the foul mouth pasta. I have to say what I feel about AOC. Fuck the traitor. Well, she put a bunch of other things, but I use the word fuck there for her, because I'm going to do it for you, Carrie Mark. I feel you over there. JVB, We also received a tip from JVB. Thank you so much for the super rate contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. I'm going to shut this down over here. Bloop, bloop. And put forth this one right here because I got it all.
Mm-hmm.
I got it all loaded right over here, fam. Guys, we have 71 people watching on the Rokfin. Get on over to the Rokfin, Rokfin. Sign up for free. If you got a few extra bucks and you want to endorse, please do so. We appreciate all the help. Thank you to the Patreon. Thank you to the PayPal people. I got it backwards. I'm sorry, right over here. Okay. My bad. Fam. So this morning I went on JB's show, Jason Burmis. Jason Burmis here for the Burmis Brigade over here. And we talked about what was going on in Arizona. I kind of gave him an overview of what's going on, why this audit is so important. We've been following here on the Convo Couch, so please continue to follow us, and we will be talking about getting out there and getting our butts on the ground to cover this audit. Now, where we were last week when we were doing the actual show, talking about the audit that's taking place, we talked about the fact that they secured the location, the Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix, where the Suns used to play. They have 2.1 million ballots they've transferred on over. They've got all the software, they got all the hardware, they got everything they need to do, and they're going to do a full forensic audit. They're going to go over the signatures. They're going to authenticate the ballots. They have a team with Javon Hunt and Pulitzer who's there as well, Cyber Ninjas who there as well. They're going to go in there. They're going to confirm the software. They're going to make sure everything's supposedly. I'm very curious to see the bumps they hit along the way. Like when they start looking at the software, it's not the software. And then Dominion says, well, it's our software. It's proprietary. You can't look at it. We haven't got across to that yet. There's a lot of answers that need to be answered, a lot of questions that need to be answered, excuse me. And they're starting off with the actual ballots and authenticating them and going through it. However, the other day, as we were doing our show, we saw that the Democrats, once again, in the state of Arizona, had put forth another roadblock, and we've been documenting and showing these roadblocks. They don't want this audit to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So the Democrats won't put up $1 million to pause the Arizona election audit. What had happened was there was a judge who said, okay, listen, if you want to delay this one now, because now all of a sudden, get this, fam, the Democrats who never care about the chain of custody elections, they're very concerned about the security issues that are going on. Remember the local news channel walking around the stadium going, this is bad. There's no security here. This is going to this is not going to be protecting people's rights for security and information over here. People who want to remain anonymous, who want to have their voting private, are going to be exposed. That's what they're trying to do. Well, the judge just said, hey, take a look at this. Phoenix, Arizona. An Arizona judge cited deep concerns about ballot secrecy on Friday during an audit of the 2020 election results from the state's most populous county. But the process will move forward after Democrats decided not to put up a $1 million bond to fund any increase in costs from the delay. The price tag was too steep, Democrats said, letting the audit continue in Maricopa County, home to the Arizona's largest city, Phoenix, while leaving in place the judge's orders that the Arizona Senate and its auditors follow state law on ballot secrecy and voter privacy as they do a hand recount of 2.1 million ballots. I just want to read the last line because I got to show you the rhetoric that the mainstream media puts forth. This is AP, fam, the only trusted source to produce the election results, says Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube, not the Convo Couch. Conspiracy theories about the election have proliferated nationwide since President Joe Biden's victory, but have had particular staying power in Arizona, which flipped Democratic for just the second time in 72 years. Yeesh. Supporters of the former President Donald Trump, who believe he was the election's rightful winner, are pinning their hopes on the Maricopa County audit to finally produce evidence of fraud. So, fam, they still have the same narrative there. They're still putting it out there. We saw last week when we showed it, a local channel and one of their old registrars, the guys who run the elections over there, Mr. Fontes, I believe his name was, kind of tie in these people who are doing the audit over here in Arizona are the same people who are apologists for the insurrection on January 6th. Yeah. They're really trying to put that narrative out there, and they're doing so. However, this judge said, you know what? I guess what, Democrats, if you want to slow it up for reasons for security, put up $1 million there for that. They have the money that they can go forth and pay for extra people to do counting once we get this worked out. The Democrats were like, no, we don't want to do that. So the audit continues. However, there was some bad news shortly after there, but we're going to get through it and stuff. A new judge will oversee hearing Tuesday on the challenge to Arizona's Senate GOP election audit. What had happened, fam, is that judge recused himself because there was somebody who was involved within the lawyer team that he had once worked for, the guy clerk firm years ago. The name wasn't originally on all the indictments or on all the paperwork, but on Friday it came through after the decision that somebody was involved that he was once connected with. So therefore he had to step down, recuse himself, and a new lawyer take place. So I'm going to read here. Phoenix, a new judge will preside Tuesday when hearings resume on the Arizona Democratic Party lawsuit to shut down Arizona State Senate Republicans' audit of Maricopa County's 2020 election results. Superior Court Judge Daniel Martin was named Monday to replace Judge Christopher Corey after Corey withdrew abruptly Sunday evening, citing an ethical conflict under the Judicial Code of Conduct. Lawyers for the Democratic parties and the defendant's audit leader, Cyber Ninja, and the state Senate Republicans' leadership have been scheduled to appear in court 11 a.m. on Monday. The hearing has been moved to 11 a.m. Tuesday, with Martin expected to plan the next step in the case. Well, fam, we did the folder last night. We didn't have that information. I checked this morning. Let's take a look at that tweet.
Well, it certainly doesn't seem like the Arizonans I'm hearing.
Sorry about that. I don't think I put the tweet up. Did you have the tweet for me that I put up? The Arizona... it's not there. The Arizona audit people, I think they put up, we put it in there, Oz.
I'm not seeing it. Is it?
It's right after this article. There should be another tweet. Let me get it up here real quick. It says, new judge sticks with previous. He's good. Oz has it up there for us. Look at you, Oz. You're beautiful. So today, fam, the decision came down. And this is something people were concerned about. Most of the time, the judges that come in after a judge has been recused stick with the decision that the original judges made. They don't embarrass the judge. They take over. But it was still an avenue where I was like, uh-oh, this new judge is going to come in. He's going to stop shit. And here we go. Here's another hurdle. But no, we were very lucky. Breaking Maricopa judge denies Democrats' request to stop the election audit. The audit continues.
Wow.
And that was a couple hours ago, fam.
Yep.
We got a break over there. So what happens? We're going to still play ball. There's going to still be an audit. But I still want to point out that the Democrats and the establishment Republicans, the establishment as a whole, it's a two-party illusion. They are still trying to make this thing look like it's farce. It's a farce. You can see the Arizona Secretary of State says the GOP election audit seems like such a farce.
Audits are bad.
Yep.
Having audits means you're a right winger now.
That's crazy. Let's play the video real quick right here. This is from the Hill. This is Katie Hobbs, the Secretary of State. Here she goes to speak about what she thinks what's going on, the obfuscation, the propaganda. Here we are.
Pasta's favorite word.
You got the video, Oz? Two seconds, everybody.
Seem like the Arizonans I'm hearing from are okay with it, which is why my office has been working with a lawsuit that's been filed to try to address the security concerns at a minimum. But at this point, this seems like such a farce that it would be a good idea to stop it.
So, fam, there you are again.
Well, I remember reading Frank Luntz.
There you are again, fam. Here they go. They're doing everything they can to make this look like a joke. These are people who are, supported the resurrectionist on January 6th. The security's no bueno. Now they care about the chain of custody and stuff like that. But your thoughts on them, fam, trying to just stop this audit. Here's the Secretary of State going, it's a farce.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me because if there were any proof, like actual proof, like, because, we can talk about statistical anomalies, we can talk about exit polls, we can talk about the machines, we can talk about all these things. But if there was an actual audit that were to prove that the election was fraudulent, that would send a whole message to people who were in disbelief before that, oh yeah, like this is like some tangible proof, like more of a smoking gun that people always look for when it comes to election fraud. They want like like a smoking gun. The thing is, you can't get the smoking gun because you're not in charge of your elections.
Yep.
So if we had transparent elections, sure, you could totally do an investigation and get a smoking gun. But because we can't even get an audit, and the only place you can get an audit is where in Arizona, where these people are like fighting, and it may be ideological, it may not be ideological. I mean, it's not for us, but it is for some people. And so it's very difficult to prove anything when you like, you can't, it's proprietary software and you can't
there's no access to the there's no transparency.
I mean, it's so
it's terrible. And that's why, you know, I put up this other tweet real quick, and I don't want to play this, but this is Bram Resnick, right? And the other day we played Bram on our show, and he's a local news commentator for the NBC affiliate out there. And he had on the Fontes, the election supervisor, and they were just making a whole joke. They were tying into the J6 people as whatnot. But here they are again. They're just trying to demean people, and they're trying to make it look so bad because they're really shitting their pants now. The establishment and the predator class, or whoever's running things out there, they're starting to shit their pants because they don't want this audit to take place, because we don't have real audits, but we do have a real audit going on right now. And Bram Resnick, you can see how many of the Maricopa County's 2.1 million ballots has AZ Senate GOP audit counted. Took 4 questions before Bennett said just shy of 100,000. Don't have a specific number. Let's be generous and say 2 solid days of count, 50K a day, need to average 142,000 a day to get out. They have a hard time out at the Memorial Coliseum. They can move to another spot, but they have a hard out on the 14th. They have to be out of there. The whole thing is if they're not finished with this counting by the 14th, the optics will look really, really bad, and the establishment will be able to spin it. Here they are moving the ballots again. This is awful. They don't know what they're doing. They're incompetent. Why are we even doing this? You're just going to sow more division. We need to stop this right now. So they're trying to belittle people. They're trying to put them in the box. They're trying to beat them up. They're trying to browbeat them into stopping this election, but it's not going to stop. The last thing I have up over here, fam, is this. If you guys haven't got a chance, people are watching this left and right. Some election integrity activists call me, azaudit.org. It actually has cameras set up in the whole place. And I'm going to just pull up camera number 5, Oz, of this one right here. And there's multiple cameras. You can see the whole. There it is right there. There's multiple cameras of the whole place. It's very interesting. I want to get out there because there's so many answers. Pull up camera 5 real quick, or any camera in particular, Oz. You just click on it.
I think it's taking a bit to load.
Look, he's putting up all the cameras here. You can see. This is awesome.
So those are all live?
Yeah. Those are all live cameras. One over right there. One more. Now the one right above that, Oz. Click that one right above that one. The last one you did. I want to, now click that there and make it a big screen. You can actually click the button and we'll go to the big screen. But there, you can see it right from there. That's a different angle right there. Okay. So now you have different colored groups here. You have yellow groups, you have green groups, you have blue groups. They got everything organized. I want to know what each table is doing. And each table spins around in a circle right now.
Yeah.
Everything is protected. You can see the one area where they bring the ballots into. I mean, this is just incredible. We've never had this before. It's exciting for an election integrity activist. They won't let any cameras go in there, and they only let observers go in from certain times because, once again, the establishment is saying, well, we can't let cameras in there. The privacy of the voter needs to be protected. If we let cameras in there, what's going to go on? It's going to be awful. But there's a lot of stuff going on. We got to get out there. We got to see what's going on. It's exciting. I hope the feds don't come in, fam.
They don't care about the privacy of the voter if they're looking through your emails and your tweets, guys. It's just an excuse for them to withhold transparency. So no, find another argument, because obviously they don't care about that.
Yeah, they don't care at all. But we do. And that's why we're bringing you this stuff. That's why we're talking about this stuff. This is exciting. We're going to pay close attention to this Arizona audit, because if they do find some funny business, Wisconsin's on deck waiting to push for an audit. Georgia's got stuff going on. Michigan's waiting.
And it's not about overturning the election. It's just about like showing the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, who cares? So it's the same shit. Like, who cares? But it's the fact that if people finally understand that our election system is corrupt, then they're gonna understand that we can't vote our way out of this, right?
Exactly.
Like we can't.
Yeah, to me, the most important thing is pointing out the framework of our elections being awful, the way it's set up proprietary software, the way these voter rolls are in check, that if you mail out these ballots to everybody on the voter roll, you're going to just have an enormous amount of crazy ballots. The signature process now, they've kind of erased that by putting in machinery like Periscripts to check the signatures. But if you control the level of degree of how these signatures could be checked, you could put that degree down very low and you can get a scribble through. So there's so many ways to game an election. Like I said, I think my poker background comes into a lot to play because I'm looking at everything as a whole. How can they do this? How can they do that? We said in 2016, we saw so many irregularities in 2020 with Joe Biden. The way he caught up in the mail-in ballots in the primary against Bernie Sanders just didn't add up. It didn't add up because it was the day before when Klobuchar and Buttigieg dropped out. That means the majority of those mail-in ballots were already in the air, fam. So unless they magically changed and he went from 8% to 26%, that's just really, we have to have audits on a regular basis. This should be a normal practice when it comes to our elections, because if it's our elections are the most sacred thing we have. One person, one vote. If we don't have that, we don't have a democracy. We need to get it back. So that's why this audit is important. And what, like you said, it's not just about putting out Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. It's about exposing the whole election system, the framework, and changing that for the future. Because if we really want to take control of our government, if we really want to do everything for the poor people out there and the most battered and the most who are oppressed out in this world, not just our own country, we need to take our government and we need to get it out of the predator class. Look how our Congress has failed us left and right. Oz, you talk about blaming Congress all the time about that. Congress has not acted accordingly. In fact, both sides, Republican and Democrats, some of the Republican bills are great when they, in Atlanta, I don't want to say it's great, but it's a good bill, but it doesn't address the major issues. And then HR 1 doesn't address the fact that it's crushing small parties, it's crushing the grassroots, and it's allowing the Democratic and Republican Party to give themselves even more dark money. Your thought as far as our elections and how we have to get them under control, Oz?
I got to tell you, why do we elect these people in the first place? We elect them to do the work of the people, not the work of the donor class. This has got to end. We cannot change this electorally. Obviously, we've been trying to do it for 40 frickin' years now. So we're going to have general strikes. We're going to have to actually organize and walk our talk, especially everybody I know will rally around Medicare for all, a universal health care fully funded system. That's killing us right now with this pandemic and more wars. Are you kidding me? I see Medea Benjamin's going crazy on that right now, and many of our other friends who are anti-war and pro-life. So that's where I'm at. And elections aren't going to do it, but we're going to have to walk and chew gum at the same time. That's all I can say, guys.
Yeah. I believe if we fix our election system, we will get more grassroots candidates who will do that work we need them to do, Oz, that we talk about all the time. That if we had fair elections, we would have people in there like a Maria Estrada to get rid of an Anthony Rendon who shelved single payer here in California. Same thing up there in Washington. And that's, people really don't, they look at everything on a surface level. You have to be nuanced when you look at elections and understand how they run, because if you understand how they run, there's no way you would stand behind any of the results that are given on any day, at any election, because they're just ludicrous, fam.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're gonna. I think in order to get fair elections, we're gonna have to take our government back. We don't have our government right now. So I think in order to get fair elections, we basically have to have some sort of revolution in order to get the elections there, because they're not going to fix it. They're not going to make them transparent.
Yeah.
The government in place that would just be attacking their own plan that they have. So I've kind of gone from like, yeah, we need to reform our elections to we need to have something happen in order to have fair elections, because we're not going to get it by. I don't know. I don't think this can be fixed electorally at this point.
Well, the electoral system is fugazi. It's shot. It's rigged, and we need to do it. Walk and chew gum. I agree, Oz. On the Super Rays, jig forever. I hate saying that, but thank you so much for the Super Ray contribution. Castello, thank you much for the Super Ray contribution. That's awesome. Misha Quee. Love you all. Keep up the good work, fam. And then Reeve Barker, I think I mentioned your name before, but thank you, Reeve. We love you, Reeve. JVB also left some love. We have 76 people. Guys, if we can get 24 more of you guys to come over from the YouTubes over to here, we can get you to 100 people. And fam wants to get 100 people, right, fam?
Yes, fam.
right.
So let's get started on this next section because this is Andrew Brown, right? Andrew Brown, days ago, protests started when he was shot in the back of the head. He was shot several times in the shoulders, but he was shot in the back of the head. The police has refused to give the family the full police tape. So there's that battle going on. So the FBI just started a probe into the death of Andrew Brown, who was killed. And I'm just going to read the first couple of paragraphs here. The FBI launched a civil rights probe Tuesday into the death of Andrew Brown, the black man killed by deputies in North Carolina, as his family released an independent autopsy showing he was shot 5 times, including in the back of the head. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper called for a special prosecutor while pressure built on authorities to release body cam footage of last week's shooting. A judge scheduled a hearing Wednesday, today, so we'll go over that, to consider formal requests to make the video public. Okay, so that's what happened, and that's the FBI. One thing I want to say about the FBI investigating police is the FBI are police. They're a part of the police state. So I get it. I get it. It's not the same, department, right? But they're still the police. And you have to understand that the police receive orders from who? From the people in power. And so the FBI kind of doing an investigation on police kind of proves that the issue isn't just police officers. The issue is systemic. The issue, once again, I go back to, stems from the fact that this is the way things are done. The police shouldn't be investigating themselves, and that includes the FBI. When the FBI does, did the Mueller report, they're talking, 17 agencies. 17 agencies of what? Of your people? Agencies? Yeah. Like it's a conflict of interest. We need to have an independent party that does the investigations into police shootings. That isn't the FBI. That isn't, this has not been discussed enough yet, because I don't think a lot of people realize, like, the FBI and the police, like, the FBI is supposed to investigate, right? Something of this nature. That's their job. But the problem is they're part of the police state, because we live in a fucking police state now. Jr., while he was unarmed, sitting in his car in his driveway with his hands on the steering wheel. And now police won't release the full video, and it will only let his family and lawyers see 20 seconds of it. This is beyond horrific. So this is a statement right now from the family of Andrew Brown.
Let's be clear. This was an execution. Andrew Brown was in his driveway. The sheriff truck blocked him in his driveway, so he could not exit his driveway. Andrew had his hands on his steering wheel. He was not reaching for anything. He wasn't touching anything. He wasn't throwing anything around. He had his hands firmly on the steering wheel. They run up to his vehicle shooting. He still stood there, sat there in his vehicle with his hands on the steering wheel while being shot at. Now keep in mind, this is 20 seconds. I have 3 pages of notes for 20 seconds. We watched this over and over and over to make sure we were clear at what was going on and what was transpiring.
Okay. So, so here's the attorney, Ben Crump, talking about how if Andrew Brown Jr. did anything illegal, the police would have put the video right away. He's stating that because they're keeping the video, they're hiding something. So here is some of that.
The deputies that have been placed on administrative leave is still receiving salaries. They're on a vacation for killing Andrew Brown. We have to change this policy that police officers, just like in Dante Wright's matter, they try to resign, get their full pension and retirement, and ride off into the sunset after they shoot us in the back. We cannot allow this policy to continue. The deputies that have been placed on administrative leave is still receiving salaries.
Okay.
They always do that. It's like they commit a murder, right? And they say, you're administrative leave, and they give them cash. You know what I'm saying? Would that happen at any other job, fam? Any other job?
I mean, we have people losing their job for a tweet. Like, this is what I'm talking about. There's no, like, there's no accountability. So this is why people get mad. And when I was in Wisconsin, Kenosha, a lot of people there are mad about the riots that happened. They're mad. Like, they're like, no, like, this is I saw the small businesses get hurt. When you talk to these people from Kenosha, a lot of them didn't like how, BLM and protesters responded. However, you have to take into account it's only going to get worse when police have zero accountability. People want justice. You saw how there were no riots when Derek Chauvin was actually, held accountable for what he did. We haven't heard the sentencing yet, but the fact that he was found guilty on all 3 counts did something. And like, people want justice. So this is why people react this way. And you're pushing people to a point where none of this is going to stop. This is a back and forth that's going to be going until we actually have a solution, which I think is like changing the whole police system as a whole, whether you want to call that abolishment, reform, I don't care what you call it. It's essentially, it's systemic, but you guys, we're not going to change the police at all, because the people in power need the police to secure the status quo. That's all it is. We're not going to do it. We need to understand that it's directly tied to our imperialism. And so, just as a sidebar, today was the court hearing this morning. Sarah McCammon did a whole thread on it, and I'm just going to go through it. Basically, they were going to hear. The judge will soon hear requests to release body cam footage of the fatal shooting. And this is, of course, related to the police not wanting to release the footage. So the DA, Andrew Womble, argued against the release of the body cam video, saying it would interfere with the investigation, which, I mean, if you're looking at it from a cop perspective, it could potentially, shift public opinion in one way or the other. The judge says he spent hours last night reviewing the footage. Womble asked the judge to immediately disclose any footage he deems to be appropriate to the Brown family, and asked judge to release the video in 30 days. Womble also allows that he may come back in 30 days and ask for another delay if there's a change in the circumstances. This is ridiculous. No. He says that means if he believes criminal charges are required, in which case he would only want it released in court after the charges have been brought. No, you don't get special privileges. Womble, I think they do. They think that they do, though. And most of the time they do. So that has to end. Womble argues that either one, he should release the video after 30 days if he decides not to bring charges. Okay, so only release the video if there's no charges, or 2, if charges are brought, the video should be released in court only. Like, the public and the media have the right to this.
Exactly.
In court, Womble calls out Chantel Sherry Lassetier, attorney for Brown family, accuses her of making comments intended to prejudice to judicial proceedings, and claims one of her statements were patently false. So that's what they were going on. Let me see if there's anything else right here. Womble says the car moved and made contact with law enforcement before deputies began shooting, asked judge to admonish attorneys against making extrajudicial comments that could prejudice the jury. So if you click on the part where it says in court, Womble calls out Sherry, it'll lead to more threads so that she continues.
You're good, Oz. You're perfect.
Another attorney whose name I'm not 100% on, so I'm not going to tweet, is representing unnamed clients, says his client's supposed to release a video out of concerns about safety of some people in the video, including officers, says he does not see a need for public to see footage. Attorney also raises concerns that the video release could exert influence on the jury and other judicial proceedings. I mean, if the video is just going to show what happened, guys. So death threats are being made against officials, raises fear that the wrong person could be targeted. Somebody's dead. So, I mean, there needs to be an investigation. So the officers are very distraught. Oh, here it is. The officers are very distraught. They feel for the family of Andrew Brown, the attorney says, adding, we believe the shooting was justified. So there's that. And then I'm going to skip to... they mentioned the death of George Floyd as an example of the critical role of video evidence. I knew this was going to come up, and sorting the truth when there are different accounts of killings by police. So they're saying that George Floyd didn't have a fair trial. A lot of people on the right, because the video showed to the public, showed
that Chauvin didn't have a fair trial.
I'm sorry, yeah, that Chauvin didn't have a fair trial in the George Floyd case because the video showed what he did. It's like, but he did it. So I don't know. Do you want the video to like not show what he did? I don't understand that argument.
Be used as a tool, whether it could do. It would be better for the accused of what they can get. The video is the video. The video is public property.
Yeah.
We pay for the police department. Yeah. It's our video. Put it out there. Let the people see, and whatever happens, happens. And you can explain the narrative in court, and still, you know, what I'm saying, explain your defended side. But the fact that that's public property, that's our property, that's the people's property, it should be released out right away. No questions asked. So they shouldn't be able to play games with the footage and stuff. So
100%. And nothing. I don't think they have released like a full-on decision yet. So, but the judge said this. The judge said, I'll just read it, Oz, because I had to go find it. But she said, the public release will be delayed 30 to 45 days.
That's ridiculous.
The Kali Farabi plus attorney will be allowed to view video after faces blurred and other redactions within the next 10 days. So people are going to be protesting, etc. So the judge also said releasing video would be in the public interest, but could compromise the investigation, judicial process, and safety of people in videos. So that's the delay. Judge says media organizations don't have standing to request the video. We absolutely do. And
wow.
So
the fourth estate can't keep people in line. The actual reason why the fourth estate was created can no longer be. That's it.
Nope.
Can no longer be can hold the forces or the powers that may be accountable. Sorry, can't do it. But you know, Julian Assange, when we slept on that whole situation, it comes back to bite us in the ass. Now they're going to be able to. They're going to be able to play games with the footage, whatnot, at the benefit of the police officers, rather than show the public what we're allowed to see, because it's the public who pays for it and stuff. It is disgusting, terrible, but that's that.
No, and I mean, again, guys, like even looking at this from it could potentially, of course, but guess what? The video cam is there to make sure that police don't abuse their power. If police are abusing their power, they're going to be held. Everybody's going to see it, and they're going to be held accountable. That's not like it's not like I'm being influenced by he said, she said. It's the fucking video that people are going to be influenced by. Yeah. So you can't give me that argument that Derek Chauvin didn't have a fair trial when it's on video what he did. Multiple people saw it. And like now
they're arguing that it spun the jury a certain way because everybody was able to comment on it. But you know,
I don't know how many times you can spin somebody having their knee on somebody for so long when the guy is like shouting for his mother. I mean, come on. Like you have, you know, and people just standing by there. That's an overexertion of your power. There was they had interactions before. It's just so many issues that happened in that case. I don't think, again, it's a video. The video is supposed to be for the media, for the public to know what's going on. That's how you hold people accountable. There's zero like tolerance, in my opinion, when you talk about, the video. Then you might as well not have a video. If you're going to keep it away from people, you're going to edit the video, you're going to delay the video, then that's not fair to the other side either. If you don't want your crime getting caught on video, don't commit your crime then. Don't commit the crime. I'm talking to police officers because they're supposed to uphold the law. Like if you're going to
I just want to see everything because I want to know like right away. Why didn't you just shoot the back of the tires? They said, the car was coming back on them. Well, we got to see all this stuff. They to protect and serve who? The public. They work for the public. They work for us.
Right.
That's our video. We should be able to determine when it gets released, when it doesn't get released, whatnot. And it should be out there already. It's ridiculous that they're trying to hide it and play games with it so they can spin a certain narrative for the defendants in court. These lawyers, and they should be called out on that shit. And they should be able to have to produce the video. That's it, plain and simple.
100%.
It belongs to the public. Should they be able to hide the video, or should they have to produce it right away? Your thoughts?
There's no question about it. You have to bring that out. It has to be transparent in order to build confidence into your law enforcement team. There's just, it's just like this audit. To audit, you got to audit. You have to be transparent, because by trying to block that audit, they are signaling that there is something they're trying to hide. It's as simple as that, Obi-Wan. Sometimes the least suspected is the most obvious. Give me a break.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, my man. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to twist the narrative. The predator class is trying to keep in control, so you, the citizen, have to stay in the dark so they can have their meat hooks all over us.
Imagine anybody getting shot for any reason. Like, and now they can hide the video of hurting you.
We
Do you
don't
see
we don't like the way it's
precedents?
gonna be spun, fam.
Do you see the precedents this sets? I mean, if you're against the police state as a whole, this should actually worry you because they shouldn't be allowed to hide. At the very least, hide. Like, that's all we have is the body cam footage.
Yeah. Bethlehem Tessa Faye says, I love you guys. Words don't express how much you are valued. Bethlehem Tessa Faye, we love you too. Here's another good fan of us and the Roar Media out there. Thank you so much for that way to cap off the subject there, Oz. That was really true. Lucky Burrito Art and Music says, I stopped my messy art project and washed my hands so I can come over to Rokfin. Keep it up, fam. Hey, Oz, sending our love.
Aww.
We got some stuff to send you from Lucky Burrito. Lucky Burrito sent us some little small, cute, little niche little gifts. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but we're going to send you some stuff because she said, make sure you get some love to the Seattle fams. We have some shirts to send you, some more shirts. So we're going to send that stuff from Lucky Burrito to you, Oz. It's really nice that they came on over, and it's lucky that we're lucky to have the Lucky Burrito and Art and Music watching us all the time. Hunter C. Hunter Carranza. Much love, fam. As always, you guys are greatly appreciated. Hunter and Ty, we love you guys. Always appreciate it on the couch. So thank you so much. I am obnoxious, fam, but I love to be obnoxious, so that's okay.
We know.
By the way, we had 82 people watching towards the end over there. That is really awesome that you came on over and followed us. We want to get it up to 100 next time. So please support us on the Rokfin. Our Patreon lovers, we love you too as well. Every month you give us the love. We're going to be talking as a group right now. Fam just got back in town. You know, she had to go and slay the Destiny Dragon, not the Orange Dragon. And we have some meetings to go through, but we're going to have some talks with Johnny Sue. We're going to see what's going up. We're going to see what's going up with the Arizona audit. I want to spend some special love and thanks to Oz over there from Roar Media. Oz, tell people where they can go find your love.
Yeah, they can find us on Roar Media Live on the Rokfin. We're going to be over on YouTube for a while longer until we get tired and want to get over and start doing some serious business on Rokfin. I want to thank Lucky Burrito and Steve Cutler Music for being involved in this today. It's great, and I appreciate the opportunity that you guys gave for Roar Media and myself to help you out.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'm going to send my love out to Johnny Sue, always covering the stories, doing the great work out there. Got some new videos that we release soon. And fam, it is Wise Guy Wednesday. Today, spaghetti, meatballs, and sausage. I'm going to put some vegan mozzarella inside the meatballs, and I'm going to make a San Marzano tomato sauce with Rayo spaghetti and a nice vegan Caesar salad, fam. You're going to love what Tony Soprano is going to be doing tonight as we watch episode 2, season 1. I'm making him watch The Sopranos over here. You're going to love it, fam.
I said I'll take the mafia back over the establishment.
Yeah. You know what the difference between the CIA and the mafia is?
What, fam?
You can reason with the mafia.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. For Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
and Oz on those 1s and 2s.
Convo out. Mozzarella time.
Mozzarella time. Beetle.